Hi, everyone. I'm Denise O'Malley. I'm the founder of a company called You Define Wellness. And to thank you for joining us for another provider interview with someone from our network of wellness providers. And today it's my pleasure to introduce you to Peggy Green. Hi, Peggy. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Denise. Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Oh, I am so excited to have you on and share with everyone what you do. But I'm going to let you talk about it first. So, if you could just share with us what it is that you do, your superpowers, and how you help people out there.
Oh, my superpowers. Well, we could start with being Wonder Woman, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. I am a single mom, and I started personal training when I became a single mom because it was an opportunity for me to help other people with things that I've been doing already. I've been doing personal training for 12 years, and so opportunity to teach people how to exercise and talk to them about nutrition, make changes in their life, and get back to the real selves of the people that they wanted to be.
That's awesome. So, I have like a million questions already going through my mind for you. So, let's start at the very beginning. For those who may not really understand what a personal trainer is, I mean, I think a lot of people have ideas in their mind and they've seen all kinds of different things. What is your approach to personal training? You mentioned nutrition and exercise, but let's just talk about it from your philosophy and what you do.
Well, first of all, a personal trainer isn't somebody that just sits there and counts one, two. Now, I must admit that I'm always mess up. So if you're with me, you have to make sure you keep me accountable on your reps. But, we're educated, we're professionals, we're highly educated on, how the body works and how we're going to get the best results in what we're doing. So I combine both the nutrition aspect and the personal training to maximize people's results, bringing my own personal experience into play. I am more of a person who believes in activities of daily living or functioning, doing things that we can enjoy life. A lot of times it's so we're not taking medications, and we can do that through exercise and nutrition. In that you have the strength to get in and out of a car, that you're not having to rely on assistance, and those type of things. That's what I want, is enable people to have that quality of life from now until they hit their 70s, 80s, and 90s, is that they're able to actually enjoy life.
So, if someone were to, want to think about working with you and take that first step, I'm assuming you have some sort of an assessment. What would that look like?
Yes, absolutely, Denise. And I do have assessments. Part of that's going to be based on what people's goals are, but I want to make sure that they have good movement patterns, which isn't going to continue to exacerbate any sort of injuries that they might have. So I bring that to the table because I've had knee surgery, back surgery, and shoulder surgery. So I've been there and done that, and I know how to work with people with the injuries and really get them to that point so that they can work out. So a lot of it, I feel like I take up the slack where physical therapy stops, because physical therapists are wonderful, but so many times they focus just on that specific injury or rehab. But we're a whole kinetic chain. We're a spider web of muscles and tendons. And if I only focus on the knees, then it could be the ankle, or it could be your hips that's impacting it. So I take and evaluate you as a whole. And then, so muscle movement patterns. And if somebody has, fitness goals, how fast can they run a 5K? Or if they, you want to lose weight. And it does not have to be what's on the scale. One of the best ways for people who don't want to be weighed is just take that piece of clothing that you want to get back into it, because we know that muscle takes less room than fat does. And when you start to convert that fat to muscle, then what happens is you get smaller and those jeans start fitting. So there's a lot of different ways that I can do assessments, but so I tailor them a little bit more specifically to what my clients want too.
I love the fact that you talked about not necessarily having a scale, but getting into those skinny jeans that perhaps are in your closet and have been there for 25 years. Okay, that doesn't happen. Right?
No, not you.
No, 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 no. So there are a lot of these $10 a month gyms that have cropped up all over the place, right? You've probably seen them. I've got one
Mm-hmm.
across the street from my house practically. Another, within probably a mile, there are 3 of them that have cropped up in our area. And they all promote the fact that they have personal trainers. And, you know, I'm assuming and that what they are doing at the gyms is way different than what you do. Have you had any experience? What is it that you are doing different than some of these cheapo gyms?
Well, really, I think one of the ways that people actually get into those gyms is, so you may have a $10 a month membership, and where I think that the gyms make up the slack actually is getting personal trainers
Mm-hmm.
in making up that difference. And so, one of the things that I highly recommend is that when you're researching a personal trainer, or that you actually research a personal trainer before you actually engage with them, even take a free session with them. Ask them a lot of different questions. Do you do an assessment?
Mm-hmm.
What's your experience? What is your, educational background? How long have you been doing this? Is one of the things I think that separates me is that I am an older adult. I'm not 20, and I'm not young. So I understand the body. So I can train 20-year-olds because I was there, but then I can also train the older adult for activities of daily living and that quality of life. So you can go in, I think that any sort of a gym where you have a membership is where you can go in and do your thing. But I've worked in the gyms, and I also see a lot of times people doing things wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's when, oh gosh, don't injure yourself. Let me help you out with that. So it's that ability to, as a trainer, when you're there and realize what's going on around you. So I've worked in the big box gyms, the big corporate gyms, and then I also currently work out of a small gym, which is really open only when you're working with the trainer.
What I was going to say, and what my experience is that experience really does matter. And knowing who you're putting your body, which is, we only get one body, and who you're putting and trusting your body to help you meet your goals is absolutely critical. I wanted to talk a little bit about location because I told you ahead of time, time flies so fast on these things. And I want to make sure we get this in before we get to the end is where are you working with your clients? Is it at their home? Is it at a gym? Is it at a park? How would somebody work with you? Or where would somebody work with you?
Yeah. Well, so I'm in the Highlands Ranch, Colorado area, and so I've actually done a couple different things. But so there's some flexibility and there's some options. There is in Highlands Ranch a gym, and that's the trainer only gym, which has got all the equipment that I would ever want to be able to do some basic movement patterns and activities of daily living, functional training. So that is an option. I've also have gone to people's homes if they have, some of the basic equipment. Which brings me to the next thing is I can also do a virtual type of training using a system like Zoom here. Mm-hmm. And again, that's basic equipment. That's like a set of dumbbells, some bands, and a BOSU and a med ball. You can do a lot without having a big gym. So, I could meet a lot of different needs. So there's a variety. Again, virtual training is, we do everything virtually, just like this. We're in 2 separate cities here.
True, absolutely true. So what is one, I know you have this, I didn't tell you that I was going to ask you this question ahead of time, but I know that you'll be able to answer it, trust me, is what is one tip that you would share today for somebody who's contemplating getting started?
My biggest thing, I mean, we hear all the things, well, when you should work out or whatever. I mean, I'll have to say there's probably a couple. One is having a buddy is huge. Somebody to be accountable and have fun with, or be able to, groan. It's like, oh no, not another push-up. Somebody that you can commiserate with, somebody to keep you accountable. I think those are some really big things. And the other thing is just getting started. And if it's starting small, is, don't try to go from 0 to 60. And what I mean by that is from not working out, not having done anything, to saying, okay, I'm going to run a marathon. Okay. You need to there's some steps in between there, and be able to look at those and say, okay, what do I need to do? And finding that point where you know that you're going to continue, understand that there's going to be hard points. You're going to be sore. It's going to get tough. But if you have some ultimate goals, that's the other thing too, is just making sure you have a goal to strive towards.
I think it's awesome. So time has flown, and so I know we haven't gotten everything in that you wanted to get in, I'm sure. So what would you like to add about what you do? Any tidbits that you want to share? And while you're talking, I'm going to share your contact information for those who would like to reach out to you.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Well, I think for me, the big thing is the fact that I really have worked with a variety of people, and I'm fun. I mean, I'm not somebody that's going to yell and scream at you. I'm going to help you and coach you to get to where you want to be. So I find that that's a big thing, and that I do it with the heart, because I know what it's like to not be healthy, and you deserve. That's just it. Is you deserve to meet your goals and be healthy and active and feel good.
Oh, that's awesome. So, Peggy, I want to say thank you for joining me today and sharing your philosophies of being a personal trainer. I know that we could have gone on and on and on, because there's so much to cover in this, but really our intent was for people to get to know who you are and get comfortable with you, so that they'll reach out and contact you. And as you all heard, she can work with you no matter where you're at. So feel free to contact Peggy. And if you need to see her information again, just zip this back a minute or two, and you'll be able to take a look at it. So thank you for everyone for joining us for another interview with our one of our network providers for You Define Wellness. And Peggy, thank you so much for your time today.
Yes, thank you. My pleasure.